Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. Got a couple of quick updates and checks to do on this video tonight. One of which is an update on the Sportster, and the other one is to do with the settings on my GoPro. So, stick with us. I will do an update on those once I manage to get my leg over this bike. There we go. Hey. So, firstly, the Sportster. Well, the fact that I'm on this bike actually doesn't tell the full story. I'm on this bike because the weather has taken a serious turn for the colder, and this gives me much better protection when I'm on the motorway. So that's why I'm on this bike. The Sportster, we think, is fixed, and it didn't actually cost me anything. What it looks like is the side panel on the left hand side, which covers the battery, was touching or rubbing against the positive terminal of the battery, which is causing a spike in the chassis. It looks like whoever had the bike previously had put the wrong size battery on, which sticks out a bit further. They put a little bit of foam on there, or a little bit of tape, which had rubbed through, and that's why I was getting false voltage readings and spikes in the ignition system. So after having a look at that yesterday and testing it on the way home, had no issues with engine management lights, had no issues with any electrical problems, and actually it runs a damn sight better. So I'm guessing now the spark that's getting to the spark plugs is a lot stronger because you're not losing voltage into the coil. Could be wrong, still time to prove myself wrong, but that's what I believe. And like I say, the test, or the road test after doing that repair, which is basically fitting the battery properly and putting some proper insulation on there to stop it happening again, hopefully that will have fixed the problem. So the next thing I wanted to talk about tonight is, and you'll know straight away by looking at this video whether it's worked or not, is GoPro settings for low light. Now with the GoPro, I think I had the GoPro 9 previous to this, on the settings you just had a low light setting which you turned on, and it would then do whatever magic it did. I knew he was going to come across. It would do whatever magic it did to make it just see more, brighten things up, make things lighter. But with the GoPro 11 it doesn't have a low light setting, so you have to start messing around with frame rates and ISOs, and I don't really understand the ISO stuff. I'm sure a lot of you out there do, because you've put a lot more investment into learning about it, but to me I just want to press a button and hope it works. But what I've done, I did a little bit of research on the internet, and I found that if you change the ISO setting to 800 and you reduce the frame rate to around 30 frames per second, which I kind of knew, the less frames per second, the more opportunity the light sensor has of capturing light. So we're going to find out. I mean, we will look back on this, and you'll be watching this now, and you'll see whether the images now are better than they were before. Previously, when I had on 120 FPS with auto ISO, all you could see really were tail lights, headlights, and the occasional street lamp. But fingers crossed this is now a lot better. So next week's video, and I don't want to talk necessarily about next week's video before next week, but I just wanted to give you the heads up because it's something that hopefully will be quite interesting to some people. It's basically a split into two halves. The first half is a review of 2023, what's happened through 2023, bikes and trips and tours and weather and all sorts of good things that we all love. And then the second half we're talking about next year's tour, next year's bike trip that's already been planned, that's already had the stops, booked and arranged and ready to go. And I'd just like to know your thoughts on it, your thoughts on this bike and whether it can do it, or whether I look at trading this in. My mind is so in love with the Multistrada, has been for a long time. It's the perfect bike. Performance, handling, looks. It's a Ducati, which just makes it almost perfect anyway, in my eyes. So do I trade up and get a, you know, slightly older but more powerful bike to do the trip on? But you don't know what the trip is yet, so you're going to find out next week. But we're going to talk about where we're staying, the routes, what we're hoping to see, and just what we can get out of it. So I hope you can stick around for next week. Likely to be the last video of 2023 before we go into 2024 and a whole new year of choices and options. Going back to the Sportster, I mean, if you've been on the channel for a while, been with the channel for a while, you know that I've always complained about it being pretty rubbish when it's cold, pretty poor starting, and I'm wondering now whether this issue with the battery sort of kind of arcing out almost, when you think about it, arcing out through a metal cover to the frame of the bike will cause a regular loss of voltage that goes to the coils. If the coils aren't getting the voltage, they can't produce the spark properly. So have I been suffering from a weak spark for a long period of time? Because I'll be honest with you, when I drove it last night after we'd insulated everything, it went a lot better. So I don't know, it's nice sometimes to have little wins that come from nowhere that you're not expecting. All I want to do is find out why the engine management light was coming on. But in actual fact, what I may have done is fix a problem that I've had with the bike for a little while now. Not blaming anyone for it. It looks like it's the wrong size battery, but who knows? Who knows? So yeah, interested to see now what the GoPro's low light settings that I've been given are like. Like I say, it's now at 30 FPS with the ISO at 800, and hopefully that's pulling in a bit more light, which makes this video footage a bit more usable. My apologies if it isn't any better and you're still watching a black screen with the occasional red light or white light as I get close to a car. But fingers crossed you can see a lot more now than you could on the last couple of videos. It's super clear. I don't know if you can see the sky over there, there's a cloud going across, but apart from that it's super clear, and the forecast for tonight is to drop below freezing in the southwest. I suspect further up north it could be even colder unless they've got a blanket of cloud keeping the heat in or the warmth in, but no, we're expecting it to be below freezing. It is the last weekend in November currently, so if that is the case, it'll be a chilly one tomorrow and a cold weekend, but a sunny one. And if it's nice enough to get out, I'm hopeful I can get out and just do a little bit of riding as we do. That's what we want to do. Right, well, I'm filled up. I'm wearing dark glasses. No, I'm not. I'm wearing my normal glasses. We've got a little bit of a ride home. But it's motorways, it's boring, it's dull, and I don't want to make it any worse for you guys than it already is, because let's be fair, riding in the winter is no fun for anybody, really, but we still do it. So we've got a ride home now. It's a clear night, it's a cold one, but it's crisp and it's lovely. They haven't salted the roads yet, which makes it so much better and so much more pleasurable. Well, I'm going to leave you be now. Have a great weekend. It's probably getting close to Christmas by the time you see this, so if I don't speak to you before, have a great holiday period, whichever holiday period you enjoy. Stay safe, look after yourself, look after the ones around you, and I'll catch up with you in 2024.